The Legend of Wolfware. Arroo! Rawr! Boo! The Legend of Wolfware. Buster had never wanted a pen pal. It was his mother who forced him into having one. The family were on a camping trip when this mysterious tale begins. "My boy Buster loves to write letters," cooed Buster's mother. "No, I don't, Mom," he protested. The pair were standing outside their little cloth tent while Father was dismantling it on the campsite. He was a rather particular man with a particular mustache, and he wouldn't let anyone else meddle in such a task. Right next door to them was an unusual family who preferred to sleep outdoors under the stars. No tent for them, or sleeping bags. Plus, they had a big, brown, furry car they called the Wolfmobile. "Nothing my Buster adores more than putting a pen to paper. He has always wanted a pen pal. We must take your address so Buster can write letters every day to your little Wolfie." "Every day?" spluttered Buster. "Twice a day if you like. What a good boy." Wolfie was the furriest little boy you have ever seen. Hardly surprising, as he came from an incredibly furry family. His father was very furry. His mother was rather furry. Even his little baby sister was somewhat furry. So you didn't need a tent to keep them warm. That thick fur kept them toasty. Their feet were furry. Their hands were furry. Their arms were furry. Their necks were furry. Even their faces were furry. Of course, the family were all wearing clothes, but there was every chance there was fur absolutely everywhere. Not just that, their ears are pointy, their noses were dark, their eyes were yellow and black, their teeth were fangs, their tongues were long and slobbery, and their fingernails were claws. They looked like werewolves! On the first day of the holiday, Buster's mother had forced him to go and play with Wolfie. "Go on, Buster," she insisted. "The poor thing looks lonely." "No wonder. He looks and smells funny." "Don't be so rude." "But he does. He looks and smells just like an animal." "Stop that. All the other children won't go near him." "I don't blame them." "They are cruel. I thought you were kind." "I'm not going to play with him, and that's that." One morning, however, Wolfie came knocking on the door of Buster's tent, as much as you can knock on a tent. "Hello, my name's Wolfie. What's yours?" "Buster," muttered the boy. "Do you want to play a game, Buster?" "What game?" "I have a favorite one," replied Wolfie, smiling to reveal his sharp fangs. Buster gulped nervously. Gulp! Unsurprisingly, it was the game, "What's the time, Mr. Wolf?" And Wolfie would always play the part of the wolf. When he turned around, he would snarl like a monster. Roar! Buster would run all the way back to his tent screaming, "Ah!" So on the final day of the holiday, Buster was looking forward to never seeing the strange furry boy again. Sadly for him, this was not to be. "And your Buster must come and stay with our Wolfie sometime," said Wolfie's mother, as the families were saying goodbye. "We have a lovely little remote cottage in the moors," she continued. "No one for miles and miles around. Just the moors, the mist, the howling wind, the thunder, the lightning, the ice-cold rain, and the light of the silvery moon." "Arroo!" howled Wolfie. "Shush," shushed his mother. Buster tugged on his mum's sleeve and shook his head so hard there was a very real chance it would have wobbled off. "Oh, my Buster would love that! Maybe he could stay for a weekend?" No, protested Buster. All right, then a week, said his mother. Buster had fallen into her trap again. Addresses were swapped, and, before Buster knew it, he was being forced to pen letters to his new pal. The very next morning, after they returned home from their holidays, a letter from Wolfie arrived on the doormat. Dear Buster, it was lovely meeting you on holiday. I am so happy that I finally have a friend. Good news! I've been talking to my mother and father, and they would love you to stay with us at our remote cottage on the moors. Friday is a full moon, and we would love you to come then. Looking forward to your reply. Arroo! Wolfie. Under the threat of never being allowed to watch television ever again, Buster wrote back. To Wolfie, no, Buster. Despite this curt reply, soon another letter from Wolfie arrived on the doormat. Dear Buster, thank you so much for your lovely letter. It was so good to hear from you, my best friend in the world. I read the letter over and over again. It brought back so many happy memories of playing together on holiday. We all look forward to welcoming you to the moors next week. Arroo! Wolfie. This was not the letter Buster had been expecting. He had no clue how to reply, so he just wrote, No, in big capital letters, and posted it off. He was sure that he would never hear from Wolfie again. He was wrong. Dear Buster, wow, I love your letters. So long and rich in detail. I don't know how you have the time to write all those words. We're so happy you, my best buddy, can join us on the moors. You will love it so much you will never come back. We don't want your parents to go to any trouble, so we will pick you up on Friday evening straight after school in the Wolfmobile. Arroo! Wolfie! Buster was floored by this. He hurriedly wrote a reply and ran to the post box. The letter read, No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Buster was sure Wolfie would take the hint. But no. Dear Buster, splendid, my friend. That's all sorted then. We can't wait to see you on Friday afternoon. Arroo! Wolfie. As soon as Buster read it, he began to feel a deep sense of dread. The boy trudged home from school that afternoon, dawdling for as long as he could. When he finally turned the corner onto his road, he spotted the Wolfmobile idling outside his house. Buster hid behind a hedge, determined not to take another step. Then he realized someone or something was looming over his shoulder. Woo! Came a voice in his ear. Ah! Screamed Buster. He spun round to see Wolfie standing right behind him. What are you doing here? Demanded Buster. I was just looking for you. We need to get going. It's a full moon tonight, remember? I just need to talk to my mom. Right on cue, Buster's mother opened the front door. Buster! She cooed, handing him a hold-all. There you are. I packed your overnight bag. Mom! Have a super weekend away, she said, bundling her son into the back of the Wolfmobile. Buster was so shocked to utter another word. All he could do was look longingly out the back window of the car as he sat sandwiched between Wolfie and his baby sister. Their fur was tickling him, so Buster tried to make himself as small and compact as possible. It was a long drive to the moors, and all three children nodded off on the way. When Buster woke up, it was dark. The Wolfmobile was winding its way through the barren landscape. Any trees still standing were dead, and a thick mist was descending. Eventually, the Wolfmobile came to a stop outside a cottage. It stood alone at the top of a hill, its dark gray stone making it almost invisible against the black sky. Whip! And a flash of lightning. Boom! And a rumble of thunder. A storm was coming, and as the ice-cold rain trickled down the back of Buster's neck, the family hurried inside the cottage. It was more of a den than a house. There were no tables or chairs, just lots of fur rugs on which to lie. "Well, I'm so tired," said Buster. "I might go straight off to bed." "Don't be silly," replied Mother. "We haven't had dinner yet, darling."
"Yes, my dear,"
asked the father. "Will you pop out and pick up something for dinner?" "But there isn't a shop for miles around," said Buster.
"Don't you worry, young sir."
With that, Father opened the front door and stepped out into the lashing rain. Buster went over to the window and peered through the glass. "Is he not taking the car?" asked Buster. "Oh, he doesn't need it," said the mother. "He'll be back before you know it. Now, you kids go off and play." With a heavy heart, Buster followed Wolfie upstairs to his bedroom. He saw a shadow move outside the window and peered out to see Wolfie's father running across the moors, carrying a stag on his back. "You don't get those in the supermarket," remarked Buster. "Nearly dinner time," replied Wolfie. "Won't that thing need to be cooked first?" "What? And lose all its flavor? No, thanks. It's so much tastier raw. Now let's play a game." "What game?" "What's the time, Mr. Wolf?" "Of course." "Not again." "It will be different this time." "How?" "You'll be the wolf." Buster looked at Wolfie. "I think you make a better wolf than me." "What makes you say that?" "Well, Mom said not to be rude, but aren't you aware—" "Arroo!" cried Wolfie. The storm had lifted, and now the moors were lit up by a dazzling full moon. "Ow!" Buster could hear howls coming from all over the cottage. "I knew it!" he exclaimed. "You're a family of werewolves." "Not quite," spluttered Wolfie as his face and body began to change. There were noises of bone stretching, scrunch, blood pumping, gargle, and eyeballs swiveling, swoosh. Buster raced to the bedroom door. He tried so frantically to open it that the handle came off in his hands. Snap! Now he was trapped, and he began thumping on the door. "Help! Help me!" But when Buster turned back to Wolfie, he wasn't wolf-like at all anymore. He looked exactly like a normal boy. "What? What are you?" asked a confused Buster. "A wolf-were." "A what?" "A wolf-were." "I never heard of one of those." "Nobody has. Our family are the only ones." "How do you become a wolf-were?" "A were is an ancient name for a man." "I never knew that." "A werewolf is when someone is bitten by a wolf. A wolf-were is when a wolf is bitten by a man." "Who would do such a thing? Biting a wolf? Sounds dangerous." "It was hundreds of years ago now, so no one really knows who the man was. It is the stuff of legend. But whoever it was, they must have been extremely hungry." "I thought you were going to take a bite out of me." "No, no, no," chuckled Wolfie. "Do you understand now why I wanted you to come and stay with us on a full moon?" So I could see you change into a boy? Exactly! I know you were frightened of me. Frightened is a big word. All right, then. Terrified! Now it was Buster's turn to laugh. Was it that obvious? Yep. Don't worry about it. Everyone is terrified of me. That's why I never had a friend before. Buster felt awful to be just like all the other children who had judged Wolfie for the way he looked. I am sorry, he said. Don't be. Just give us a hug. Buster smiled and walked over to Wolfie with his arms outstretched. The two boys embraced. It feels good to have a friend, said Wolfie, as Buster's warmth tingled through him. It is the best feeling in the world, agreed Buster. Just then the bedroom door opened, and Wolfie's family were standing there, all three transformed. We heard a commotion, said Wolfie's mother, holding the baby. Is everything all right? Asked Wolfie's father. Everything is perfect, replied Buster. He looked over at Wolfie and smiled. From that night on, the two became the best of friends. By dawn, Wolfie had turned back into a wolf. He only looked like a boy on nights when there was a full moon. But Buster didn't mind having a friend that looked like a wolf one bit. It was cool. If anyone picked on Wolfie, Buster was the first to stick up for his friend. That was over 70 years ago, and now the pair are both granddads. But they are still pen pals and write to each other every week without fail. Often they include photographs of their grandchildren, or, for Wolfie, grand cubs.